Who is the Spectre? Bang. Crispus Allen was shot dead in the back by a fellow cop named Corrigan. After attending his own funeral and watching his family grieve, he was approached by the Spectre, a divine entity representing vengeance on behalf of the Presence. The Presence is basically God and the DC universe. The Spectre offers Allen the chance to be his host, but just like any reasonable black man approached with an offer by a ghoulish spirit, he says no. So the Spectre gives him a year to rethink about his choice and ask him one more time. After spending a year as a ghost, Allen decides to accept the offer. Once he accepts, it's basically time for his orientation. He first learns of what the Spectre does, which is bringing people to justice by killing them in sometimes ironic ways. Like this child predator who he had killed by making a bunch of dolls come to life and murdering him. Then he learns that there is somewhat of an order to follow. He learns this by not being able to kill this dude right in front of him that just got done killing someone else and who had been killing people for decades. And then lastly, he learns that he can't save people. He tries to stop a lady from being shot, but he wasn't allowed to. He couldn't take the bullet for her or kill the guy shooting her until after he actually kills her. The crime must happen so the punishment can happen so justice can be served. That is the order. So after learning the rules, he's then shown the scope of how many sins are being committed so he can have perspective. After that, it was time for him to choose someone to bring to justice. Now he ends up choosing the guy from earlier who had been a serial killer for decades. Once that's done, the Spectre gives him one final test. After this test is complete, they'll be bound forever. And it involves Corrigan. Finally, Allen was about to get revenge on the man who killed him and bring him to justice. But Allen wasn't the only one who wanted revenge. You see, Allen had two sons. One of them bought a gun and thought about going to kill Corrigan himself, but decided not to. He was old enough and smart enough to know better. But the younger son, not so much. He shot him once, bang, then proceeded to unload the whole clip on him. Rightfully so. This obviously kills Corrigan and makes Allen's son a killer who needs to be brought to justice. So Allen brings him in for a hug and softly puts his son to sleep forever. But the Spectre tries to give him comfort by telling him they don't judge anybody. That's God's duty. They're basically just the delivery system. So his son could be given mercy during judgment. After passing his final test, he fully becomes the Spectre. Now the Spectre is rolled kind of like a Green Lantern, so Crispus Allen isn't the first Spectre, and he's also not the last. To be specific, he's the third, but I just wanted people to know that the Spectre did have a black host at one point.